Imagine a place so secure, so impregnable, it was considered escape-proof. A rocky island surrounded by the cold, unforgiving waters of San Francisco Bay. A place where the worst of the worst were locked away with no hope, no mercy. Alcatraz, known as the Rock. But one night in June of 1962, something impossible happened. Three men, Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, pulled off an escape that defied every rule of logic. And to this day, we still don't know if they made it, or if they vanished into the night, never to be seen again. The setup. The Rock. Let me set the scene. Alcatraz wasn't just any prison. It was a fortress built to break spirits. It housed the most notorious criminals, Al Capone, the infamous gangster, Robert Stroud, the Birdman, locked away for his violent crimes. The prison was known for its isolation, its brutality, guards who ruled with iron fists. Life behind those walls was a nightmare. And even worse, it was designed to be escape-proof. But here's where the story takes a turn. Three men managed to slip through the cracks of this so-called escape-proof fortress. They weren't just ordinary criminals, they were brilliant. They were desperate, and they would stop at nothing to taste freedom once again. The men, creatures of desperation. Let's talk about them. First, Frank Morris. Born into a troubled life, Frank was no stranger to prison. But he wasn't just any convict. No, Frank was intelligent, clever, a mastermind. He had already escaped from other prisons before Alcatraz, so when he arrived here, he had a plan. And he wasn't alone. John and Clarence Anglin. Born into a world of crime, they were notorious bank robbers. But more than that, they had a connection, a bond with Frank, a shared desperation to break free, to escape from the prison that held them all in chains. They spent their days plotting, planning. The plan, the impossible dream. How do you escape a place like Alcatraz, an island surrounded by freezing waters, a prison that was designed to never let anyone out? These three men didn't just dream of escape. They crafted it. Piece by piece, they began to execute their wild plan. They started with the ventilation shafts, using nothing but metal spoons. Spoons, can you believe that? They slowly dug through the walls of their cells. Slowly, painstakingly, inch by inch. But they didn't stop there. They needed to fool the guards. So they made lifelike decoys, dummies crafted from soap, toilet paper, and hair stolen from the prison barbershop. These decoys looked real. They looked like they were still lying in their beds. And so every night the guards passed by, oblivious, thinking the men were fast asleep. But their most audacious move was yet to come. They sewed together over 50 stolen raincoats, stitched them with thread taken from their bed sheets, melted rubber from the prison's heating pipes. And what did they create? A raft. A raft that would carry them away from the very island that was meant to keep them locked away forever. The escape night into the dark. The night of June 11th, 1962 arrived. The prison was quiet. The guards were making their rounds, and then, like shadows, Frank and the Anglin brothers moved. They crawled through the widened vents. They climbed to the roof. Each step, each movement was calculated. Silent. They slipped past barbed wire fences. The moonlight barely touched the ground as they made their way to the shore. And there it was, the raft, their only hope. They launched it into the cold, dark waters of San Francisco Bay. With nothing but their makeshift paddles, they began to paddle into the unknown, into the abyss. Can you feel it? The tension, the fear. Each stroke of the paddle taking them further from the island and closer to freedom, or something far worse. The waters were freezing. Dangerous currents threatened to pull them under. The night was pitch black. Every sound amplified. The crash of waves, the echo of their breath. The question lingered in the air. Would they survive? And then, nothing. The next morning, the guards discovered the truth. The discovery, The impossible has happened. The alarm shattered the calm of June 12, 1962. Guards rushed in a panic, realizing 3 inmates were missing. But there was no sign of them. No bodies. Nothing. Just the decoy heads. Lifeless, still. The realization hit like a cold wave. They had escaped. They had broken free from Alcatraz, a prison everyone believed was impossible to escape from. Immediately, a massive manhunt was launched. Boats scoured the waters. Helicopters searched the skies. But no trace of the men was ever found. Not a single clue. Not a scrap of evidence. The bay had swallowed them whole, or had it? Theories. What happened to them? Theories began to surface. Some believed the men had drowned in the icy waters, their raft falling apart under the treacherous currents. But there were other theories. Sightings of the Anglin brothers in California shortly after the escape. A man claiming to be John Anglin contacted a lawyer just days after their disappearance. Was it really him? Was it a hoax? The questions only grew. And then in 1979, after years of investigation, the FBI closed the case, concluding that the men likely perished in the bay. But still, no bodies. To this day, we don't know what happened to Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers. Did they escape? Did they vanish into the night, slipping away to freedom? Or did the dark, frigid waters claim them, dragging them down into the depths of the bay? Let's talk about the first possibility. They made it. After all, they had a brilliant plan. These guys weren't just digging holes with spoons for fun. No, they crafted a raft made out of raincoats. Not just any raincoats, 50 raincoats, bed sheets, and some rubber from the prison's heating pipes. You can almost picture them on a cold winter's night, threading the rubber together like it's some kind of DIY Pinterest project. Oh, we'll just sew this together and float across the bay. They launched it into the water, and surprisingly, it didn't immediately sink into a sad heap of soggy fabric. Years later, researchers recreated their raft using similar materials and floated it across a test site. The result? The thing held together better than expected. With the right conditions, say luck on their side, they could have actually made it across. But then, there's the car theft. Yeah, you heard that right. The same night they escaped, the police opened a file about a car stolen in the Bay Area. 3 men, fleeing the scene like they just robbed a bank, which honestly, they kinda did. The car was driven recklessly through town. Maybe they were trying to shake off the cops. Maybe they were just bad drivers. Who knows? But the timing? Too perfect to ignore. Could it have been Frank and the Anglins, trading the cold, deadly waters for a joyride? Now, did they drown? Sure, that's another theory. The waters were cold, like, I'm never going to vacation in San Francisco again. Cold. The currents were brutal, and the raft was, let's just say, questionable. But no bodies were ever found. No evidence, no raft. It's almost like they just disappeared, poof, into thin air. So the question still stands. Did they escape, or did they become Alcatraz's most famous ghost story? Maybe they made it, driving stolen cars through the night. Or maybe they're living off the grid somewhere, watching this story unfold on a streaming service. Whatever the truth is, we're left with one thing: the mystery that's kept Alcatraz and its legendary escape alive for decades. And as the sun sets over Alcatraz today, the island remains a symbol of mystery, of human ingenuity, and of the desperate will to break free from the chains that bind us. The question lingers in the air, the same question we've all asked ourselves time and time again. Did they make it? Or is Alcatraz truly escape-proof? As the fog rolls in over the waters of San Francisco Bay and the eerie silhouette of Alcatraz looms in the distance, one truth remains: the mystery of that fateful escape may never be solved. Did Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers outwit the authorities and slip into the shadows of history? Or did the unforgiving bay claim them as its own? In the end, the only certainty is this: some stories are too unbelievable to forget, and some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved. The rock still holds its secrets, and maybe, just maybe, they're still out there, waiting for us to find them. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling tale, Make sure to hit that like button, share this mystery with your friends, and subscribe so you never miss out on more captivating stories that keep you on the edge of your seat. Stay curious, stay intrigued, and always keep questioning what's real. Thanks for watching.